I love Maddie Haley. I love Maddie Haley. Give me a like if you know where that's from. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. You know what? We're just gonna have a great little time today. I'm gonna be talking about all the books that I read this year and tier ranking them in terms of the 1975 lyrics. I have truly gone through a time with the 1975 this year. Everyone's been making these tier ranking videos for their 2022 reads and I wanted to try my hand at one, but I wanted to insert my own personal obsession. So let's just get into the tier ranking system that I came up with. So all of these lyrics are absolutely iconic. If you know, you know. Starting off here, let's just start off with the categories. First off, the top tier, the best of the best books that I read this year. That top tier I ranked as She Had a Face Straight Out of Magazine. If you are a 1975 stan, you know that Robbers is the song of all songs of theirs. And this lyric is just so iconic. Unbelievable, like this is top, best of the best, like stunning top tier, you know? And I feel like this tier could just encapsulate Robbers in general as like, it's like the best of the best music. It's like the song that like captured people's hearts and like this is the band, like this is them. The second tier is All I Do Is Sit and Think About You, and that is a lyric from It's Not Living If It's Not With You, which is another iconic song, like just top tier amazing. Basically, this category of books is going to be like not absolute 5-star feels, but like I still think about these books all the time and I still really enjoy these books, but it wasn't like the top of the top iconic best ever. It was like I still really genuinely love these books, but it wasn't the best of the best. Do you know what I mean? Third tier is You Wet My Eyes, But I Don't Mind It. This is a lyric from Two Time. And this tier is kind of like, I might have cried, but like I'm an emotional person, so I cried at a lot of things, but I don't mind it. Like it's a really good book, genuinely really enjoyed it. I'm going off of vibes here, just pure vibes. Next tier we have Thank You Kanye, Very Cool. This is a lyric from Love It If We Made It. That song slaps. Whenever I hear this lyric, I always think of it like super sarcastically, like thank you Kanye, very cool. So these tier of books are gonna be just like decent, solid reads, but like it could have been a little bit better. Just like, I mean, it was a cool fun time, but not the best of the best. And next tier we have is Don't Like Menthols. This is not a lyric specifically from anything, but if you have been watching their tour on TikTok, you know that Don't Like Menthols has been a absolute trend on the internet. If you don't know what it is, just go look it up, okay? Basically, he's singing into an auto-tune mic and he says, don't like menthols. Don't like menthols, basically it's like, didn't love it. This was not for me. Don't like it, don't want it, wouldn't recommend. And then the last category is I'm probably gonna yosh in your mouth. Basically, I hated it. This was not a good book, would never recommend it, and I just like, want to vomit. Yeah, it wasn't good. It was bad. This lyric is from a song called Menswear. This song slaps. It's so great. It's about a very chaotic wedding and this lyric is iconic. Those are the tiers that we have and let's just get to the rankings, shall we? So first book I'm gonna do is House of Earth and Blood. This is Crescent City 1. Really like this. It was a fun, flirty time. I think I'm gonna do You Wet My Eyes, But I Don't Mind It. I know people like are obsessed with this book, but it wasn't like best of the best for me, but like I don't mind it. I might have teared up a little bit. So yeah, solid You Wet My Eyes, But I Don't Mind It. I'm not sitting and thinking about this book all the time, but I enjoyed it. It wasn't that bad. Okay, next up, let's do Everything I Never Told You. Which one? Don't Like Menthols or probably gonna yosh in your mouth? I'm feeling Don't Like Menthols. I didn't like hate this book, but I was really disappointed like in it. That book was such a letdown for me. I was so sad. It just like really did not live up to what I thought it was gonna be, and how much I've loved other Celeste Ng books, that one just like didn't slap. Wait, you know what? I thought I was gonna go in a random order, but like straight up, this is stressing me out. I feel like I have to go in an order now. Fun, chaotic time here. Project Hail Mary. Let's start off with that one. I'm feeling All I Do Is Sit and Think About You. I think about this book all the time. This was such a good read. Like honestly, loved this book so much. It was just like space shit, which I absolutely love. There's one character in this that if you know, you know, and it's a real feel-good character. And I just love this story. Basically, it's about a guy who just wakes up in space, has no idea where he is, how he got there, anything like that. And you kind of are just like figuring out this whole journey with him. Andy Weir and space stuff, he's the top tier space guy for me. Next up is The English Understand Wool. I literally read this yesterday. Really strange book, to be honest with you. I saw this book off of Jaylen from Bar in a Bookcase's channel, and it was like a short little novella. I think I'm gonna go Thank You Kanye, Very Cool. This was a weird time. It was like a big commentary about the publishing system, and I thought it was good, but at the same time, it felt really highbrow to me, and I don't know, I don't think it's one that's gonna be sitting with me for a while. That's that. Next up, we have The Notebook by Nicholas Sparks. I'm probably gonna yash in your mouth. Literally, this was not a good read at all. I can't believe that I actually read the whole thing. I read this one in the beginning of the year and it was a reread. Basically I used to be obsessed with Nicholas Sparks and hard pass. I moved on from that time in my life. Next up, we have A Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. We're gonna go with All I Do Is Sit and Think About You. This book was so profound, so prophetic. I really gained a lot of knowledge from it. Literally, I do sit and think about this book all the time. It really gives a great perspective on like what is the meaning of life in the face of so much suffering. Basically, Viktor Frankl was in the concentration camps and he was trying to search for meaning as he was like a psychiatrist, and he's trying to search for meaning in this life of like absolute torture and trauma. Really interesting read. 100% would recommend if you've ever been interested in reading it. And it's super short. It's like 80 pages or something like that. All right, next up we have American Dirt. I'm deciding. I don't know. Don't like menthols or I'm probably gonna yash in your mouth. I think I'm gonna go Don't Like Menthols. Hi, it's Editing Kara. I should have put American Dirt and I'm probably gonna yash in your mouth, and I'm sad that I didn't, and that's my final rating, so sorry you're not gonna see it in the actual video, but that's my final rating. Also, if you don't love the 1975 after this video, I will not have completed my mission. I hope you all go listen to their music. Okay, love you, bye. The whole like ethics surrounding this book in general leave a really poor taste in my mouth and everyone's mouths. Don't like it, don't like the feeling it gives me, absolutely not. Thank you, next. Moving on. Crying in H Mart. I think I'm gonna do All I Do Is Sit and Think About You. I really like this and I listened to it on audio, which was amazing, but I feel like I ruined the reading experience of this book for myself. I kept reading it or listening to it while I was walking at the gym or training for my marathon at the gym. And like when I'm in that super heightened state of like running and endorphins, it was a tough read to listen to, you know? I think this one is on me in that I feel like if I had actually physically read it, I would probably put it in She Had a Face Straight Outta magazine because it was absolutely beautiful. Genuinely think about this book all the time. It was so good. If you haven't read it yet, please go read it. Next up, we have To Paradise by Hanya Yanagihara. This one's going straight to You Wet My Eyes, Might I Don't Mind It. Definitely cried in this book a lot, but I didn't mind it. I was very disappointed in this book because I had gone in with so much hype because A Little Life left the most impact of a book I've ever read in my life on me, but To Paradise wasn't like that great. Okay, next we have Gallant. This was an eh. I think I'm gonna go Thank You, Kanye, Very Cool. Not super great, very forgettable for me. I don't know, it just didn't really stick with me that much. Like honestly, I forgot I read that book this year, so Thank You, Kanye, Very Cool. Great, good time. Moving on. Next, we have The Last Song. I DNF'd this book. We're gonna go I'm probably gonna yash in your mouth. Nicholas Sparks, you're really not looking good here. Reading tastes have totally changed. I don't know why I liked this so much when I was a teenager. It just like did not hit. Next, we have The God of Small Things. I DNF'd it, so I feel like that I shouldn't even be ranking it because I don't know. I think I'm gonna go Thank You, Kanye, Very Cool. I don't know, I really couldn't get into this book. It just didn't like leave a super big impression on me, and I obviously DNF'd it. It won the Booker Prize when it came out, so I feel like this book has like a very big message and I probably would like it a lot more, maybe under different circumstances or a different stage in my life. Didn't make it through that one. Guys, I've put nothing in She Had a Face Straight Outta magazine yet. Next we have Under the Whispering Door. I loved this book. Debating between All I Do Is Sit and Think About You versus She Had a Face Straight Outta magazine. I'm gonna go All I Do Is Sit and Think About You because if I compare that book to House in the Cerulean Sea, House in the Cerulean Sea is She Had a Face Straight Outta magazine for sure. But Under the Whispering Door was like, it was kind of like replica of House in the Cerulean Sea a little bit for me. I really loved the message. I really loved the writing, but I feel like House in the Cerulean Sea had done it a little bit better. All I Do Is Sit and Think About You. I definitely think about the meaning of the book. I definitely think about the characters in the book. The whole setting of the book was just beautiful, but it wasn't like my top tier like House in the Cerulean Sea would have been. Next up we have Hollowpox. I think we're gonna go All I Do Is Sit and Think About You. Really solid story. Literally every story in the Nevermore series is like incredible to me. Jessica Townsend's writing is, I just love it. It transports me. It wasn't a 5-star like the first two were, but Hollowpox was a very, very good one. I would 100% recommend this series if you have not read it before. Like honestly, it just gives me the vibes of when I read Harry Potter the first time as a kid, and I love those vibes. It's just such great nostalgia, and Hollowpox was definitely worth the read, just not as good as the other ones in the series. Next up we have Bunny. Oh, I think we're gonna go She Had a Face Straight Outta magazine. This book is incredible. It is a wild ride. You are just devolving with this book. It is so great. This was in the top 5 reads of the year for me. Incredible, stunning, work of art. Absolutely would recommend this book. Also, next we have Oathbringer. That's one's going right up to the top as well. She Had a Face Straight Outta magazine. Every single Stormlight Archives for me is always 5 stars. Brandon Sanderson just like slays with high fantasy, and I feel so connected to all of those characters in that book. Outstanding settings, outstanding plot. Like the world is expanding even more and even more and even more than when we first started with it. I can't wait to continue with the rest of that series. It deserves the best of the best, top tier, absolute perfection. That whole series is just perfection. And next up we have All the Ugly and Wonderful Things. I know people really love this book, but I'm probably gonna yash in your mouth. I could not get over the fact that this was like predatory on children, like huge trigger warnings for that. It was really uncomfortable for me. I made it about 25% in, and I just could not get over the fact that like there was a potential romantic relationship like going on between an adult and a child, and I just wanted to vomit like the whole time I was reading it. I know it's not technically pedophilia, but like it feels like it to me, and I just, oh, I could. Next up we have Rules of Civility. Guys, I'm doing She Had a Face Straight Outta magazine. I know this one was not in my top 5 of the year, but like Rules of Civility is incredible. When I read it, I think I gave it like a 4-star, right? But it's a book that's been sitting with me for so long afterwards. The setting, the glamour, the characters, like everything about this book was so stunning, and the fact that this was a Mortal's debut is incredible. Like, please read this book if you love historical fiction. It is a beautiful, beautiful book. Oh, this book was absolute vibes. Would recommend if you like are interested in like 1930s New York City. Incredible. Next up we have The Love Hypothesis. I'm debating between She Had a Face Straight Outta magazine or All I Do Is Sit and Think About You. I'm gonna do All I Do Is Sit and Think About You. There were some really cringy parts of this book. Did I love it? Yes. Like, is this the best romance I've ever read? Probably. But like some parts of it were so cringy, I could not. It was a fun time. It was a very fun time. But yeah, there are a few parts of the book where you're like, oh, that would literally never happen, ever. Next up, we have Crown of Midnight. Oh, where do I put this? I think, okay, we're doing All I Do Is Sit and Think About You. That book was also incredible. Started off a bit slow, but like the ending, still think about it to this day. Like the ending of that book was unbelievable. That was the point where I knew I was hooked. Yeah, All I Do Is Sit and Think About You. Absolutely beautiful. I love that book so much. Can you guess where I'm Glad My Mom Died is gonna go? Straight to the top. Absolute banger. This book is unbelievable. I've made an entire video explaining about why I love this book so much. Literally can never stop thinking about this book. Jeanette McCurdy, you are an icon. Absolute icon. Oh my gosh, you guys, we're having some really great books just coming up here. Okay, Normal People. Where do you think this one's gonna go? Absolutely wonderful. Love this book so much. I feel like this book became my personality after I read it and like after I watched the TV show. It is an iconic book. Sally Rooney, you're incredible. I love you. Look at all these amazing reads that I have so far. I'm just loving the fact that like we're top heavy right now. I love it. Dowry of Blood, top tier, I think we're going top tier. This book, the writing was so good. Okay, it was like a fantasy with like literary fiction writing. The sentences in this book were so beautiful, so stunning. If you haven't read it yet and you are a fantasy reader, go read it. It's like heartbreaking and sad and beautiful and tragic, and it's like LGBTQ rep as well. So cool. Absolutely loved it. Magnolia Parks. Now, where do you think I'm gonna put this one? You guys, we've just had so many bangers. All right, we're going straight to the top with this one. She Had a Face Straight Outta magazine. Writing's incredible. Characters were wild. It was a wild ride. I mean, I didn't give it a 5-star, but like, has this book sat with me for a really long time? Yes, this book was iconic, truly. Next up, we have The Martian. I think I'm gonna go Thank You, Kanye, Very Cool. No, we're going You Wet My Eyes, but I don't mind it. I mean, no, there was at no point did I cry in this book. Genuinely really enjoyed this book, but I don't think it's as top tier as Project Hail Mary was. Project Hail Mary was incredible. I love that book. Did I cry in this book? No, but like, I don't mind it. It was a really great read. Horror Store, guys. I'm not gonna go, I'm probably gonna yash in your mouth. I'm gonna do Don't Like Menthols. Like, just don't like horror. This book was not for me. Absolutely not for me. The ending of Horror Store was, I'm probably gonna yash in your mouth. But I'm feeling a solid don't like menthols on this one. It was my first book reading horror, and I just like, it was not for me at all. Darkest Shade of Magic, I'm feeling, oh, it's one of these two. I'm going with my gut on this one. Thank You, Kanye, very cool. I know this is an unpopular opinion that I have of this book, and I really did like this book. Like, it was a good time. I just didn't love it. Like, I just don't think the book was for me, to be honest with you. Writing was really great. Characters were really great, but there were just some, the book just didn't leave me with the impression that everyone else has had. And I just feel like maybe I was really overhyped for it. I don't know. I've forgotten a lot about that book by this point. And it's really sad because I wanted to love this book so much. I think it's a really cool concept. It did not leave an impression on me at all, and that kind of makes me sad. So I'm gonna go Thank You, Kanye, very cool. It was a good one, but it wasn't for me. Oh, Before the Coffee Gets Cold. She Had a Face Straight Out of magazine. This book was iconic. So beautiful. I loved this book. I was bawling. I was emotional. I felt everything with this book. That book has sat with me for so long after I've read it, and I really want to read the other ones in it. Oh my God, it was beautiful. It was so beautiful, and my first translated book that I've read, 100% would recommend that one. Heir of Fire. Oh, I don't know. Okay, I'm putting it in Thank You, Kanye, very cool for now. I think I've said this before in my Heir of Fire vlog. Like, I feel like Heir of Fire is a book that I'm gonna come back to, and everything's gonna make way more sense once I read it the second time after reading the entire series. Heir of Fire totally exploded the plot in a good way. Like, it was like, we're entering a new era for Selena in this book. But I felt very confused throughout the entire thing. I was very lost. I had a lot of emotions. It was not my favorite one that I read in the series so far. Honestly, I like Crown of Midnight and Throne of Glass were way up more than Heir of Fire was. I think there's going to be a lot of things that will get explained like as the series goes on, but right now I am confused. I had a very confused time during that one. So we're gonna go Thank You, Kanye, very cool. I bet if I read it a second time, I would do All I Do Is Sit and Think About You. Guys, Babel, I mean, this one, there is no question. If I had an even higher tier than this, where Babel is straight to the top, that book is unbelievably stunning. Favorite book of the year. I loved it. It was so great. Just such a beautiful book. I feel so happy to have had the pleasure of reading that book. Like I literally thought that book was not gonna be for me at all. Felt really pretentious when I was hearing about it, but oh my God, it's incredible. Such a great book. Next up we have Love on the Brain. Guys, I think I'm probably gonna yash in your mouth. That's so mean, but I did not love that book at all. Okay, I feel like I gotta be a little bit nicer. I'll do Don't Like Menthols, okay? Felt like it was a repeat of The Love Hypothesis. Literally have forgotten all about it, and I was so infuriated with the main character the whole time. Did not like that book. Next up we have Carrie Soto is back. We're gonna go Thank You, Kanye, very cool. It was fine. It's a solid C tier for me. I mean, it was a good book. It was good, but comparing it to her other books, it was not even on the same level. Her other books were way better for me. Next up we have Utopia Avenue. I DNF'd this book. Really couldn't get on board with it. We're gonna go Don't Like Menthols. Not that I couldn't get on board with it, I just I was probably 75 pages into it and I didn't care about any of the characters at all. And this was a very character-driven book. And when I got to page 75, I'm forcing myself to read it. It's about a rock band. I read this book for a vlog where I was going to try and find the best books that were inspired by bands, because I'm going through my 1975 era I'm talking about. I don't know, the vlog, I just didn't love it. This contributed to that for sure. I could not get hooked on it at all. Book lovers. Honestly, I'm probably gonna yash in your mouth. Nah, I'll do Don't Like Menthols for this one. I've DNF'd this at page 100. It was not for me at all. I don't know, I keep giving Emily Henry's books a try thinking I'm gonna like them because everyone loves her so much. But I've read Book Lovers, People We Met on Vacation, and Beach Read, and all three of them I was very mundane about. And this one was the worst one for me out of the three. I just did not like it. I was not interested in the characters at all. I was bored. Didn't happen for me. Next up we have Rock Addiction. This one's going straight to I'm probably gonna yash in your mouth. Again, I read this for that vlog that I was gonna do, which I still have the footage of. I guess I could complete the vlog if people are interested in it, but started the vlog off reading this one, DNF'd it immediately. I'm not even kidding you. Okay, no, it was 350 pages long, and I think I read up to probably page 80. In that time, I kid you not, there were at least 5 sex scenes in it. And I was like, I'm on chapter 3. What is going on? I hated that book. Assassin's Blade. What do I do? What do I do? I'm gonna go You Wet My Eyes, but I don't mind it. I did cry in this book. If you know, you know. I didn't mind it. It was a solid middle of the road book for me. It set the series up perfectly. I think it gave great backstory. It was not a top tier read, but it was necessary read for the series. Did cry. I don't mind it. It was a really good book. Throne of Glass, baby, face straight out of magazine. Iconic. I love that book. It was just such a fun time. I think about that book all the time still. I loved the plot. I loved the characters. I loved the questionable love triangle we had going on. I loved the competition aspect of it. That book was exactly what I wanted to read at that time, and it was perfect for me. I felt like I was a teenager discovering this entire new series. That book has left such an impression on me. Clearly, I'm still doing vlogs about it to this day, so it was great. Next up, we have Heartstopper. I put all 4 books into one here because generally I have the same sentiment about all of them, and they are She Had a Face Straight Out of magazine. I mean, need I say more? Heartstopper is just everything I ever wanted in my life and more. I don't know what else to say other than like the world needed it. The world needed it this year. Alice Oseman, you are incredible. Thank you for writing those books. I feel like those books, they have left such a big impact on me. Same with the TV show. It's just, could not say more good stuff about that one. And then last one we have here is Dark Matter. This is by Blake Crouch. I think I'm gonna do Thank You, Kanye, very cool. It was a good time. I read this when I was training for my marathon. It was the perfect audiobook read for me. It was super fast paced, could not stop thinking about it. It was a wild ride, but it did not like leave the biggest impression on me. And like all of his books are just like a mind fuck. Like you have no idea what's going on. Nothing makes sense. And then all of a sudden you get to the end and you're like, what just happened? Or should I do is all I do is sit and think about you? Yeah, well, no, I'm just gonna do that. All I do is sit and think about you. I could do think about this book a lot. It was a wild time. All right, well, that's my completed tier ranking. I actually am very pleased with this. I mean, like I said before, we're top heavy, which is exactly where I want my reading to be. But some of them were just a difficult ride, you know? Like all of those Nicholas Sparks absolutely could not handle those. All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you're curious about my top books of 2022, I'm gonna leave a link right here to that video. Please comment your favorite 1975 songs down below. I would love to know your favorites. Mine are all of them. No, just kidding. But my favorite song is If You're Too Shy, Let Me Know. Bop, absolute bop. Okay, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, love you.